Welcome to week 3 of Beyond the Scoreboard with Mark Smothers, and with my co-host this week is Benjamin Smothers, pastor out at First Baptist out at Holly Pond. We're thankful to be brought to you by Coke, Bill Smith, Buick and GMC, and Southern Accents, where you have just all kinds of interesting furniture and antiques and things like that. But we'll have team of the week this week is going to be our Good Hope Raiders. Good Hope had a 28-22 exciting overtime win last week over the Huntsville Bulldogs, and so they are our team of the week this week, and we'll have a little bit of footage of them coming up right here.
I'm just excited to be here. Got a full belly from Domino's Pizza tonight. Excited about this show. They've fed us well, especially that Honolulu Hawaiian pizza that we were able to devour. Felt like I was on the beaches of Hawaii there for a minute. But Good Hope's been playing good football since 1970.
And how have they done?
Well, they have a winning percentage of 53%. Their first region win was in 1974, which was just 4 years after their football program began.
So, Cooperative, TV 27.
Here's some words now.
Present a team of the week to one of our county teams. And in recognition of Good Hope's victory, overtime win last week over county rival Huntsville, we're proud to give our team of the week t-shirts to you and the Good Hope Raiders. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Well, nice to have you back. But congratulations to the Good Hope Raiders. They well deserved, and I think they had a big game again tonight.
They did. They continued their winning over in Winston County tonight as they defeated the Yellow Jackets 41-27, which really paves the way for a good showdown in that region with Hamilton next week.
Okay. We'd like to remind you to watch Beyond the Scoreboard at the air times through the week. First of all, Saturday morning, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. will be rebroadcast. Then Sunday, this week it'll be Sunday at 2 p.m. And then next Friday at 4:30. We have some other things with the fair in town that's going to be broadcast at some of the times. So it changed our times up just a little bit. So make sure you make note of that. And we'll be back in just a moment after this word. I think we've got Coach Britton on an interview coming up, and then we'll have a commercial and be right back.
And welcome back into TV 27 Sports. I'm here with Coach Mark Britton, who tonight has eclipsed Coach Oliver Woodard's record here at Coleman High School. And knowing Coach Woodard and what he felt about you, it has to be a special night for you, Coach.
Well, it is. You know, as my brothers played for Coach Woodard, there's a lot of times I was like one of these ball boys out here, and so I've spent many of ball games here on Friday nights, and it's a very special place for me. And you know, this community has been so supportive to our football program and to me personally, and our coaching staff. And I just want to thank everybody. I'm very humbled by this record. And my hat's off to my coaching staff. They've done an outstanding job.
And they certainly have over the years, and there's been some changes over the years as your coaches move on. And but Coach Woodard loved to come out and watch your practices. He never got involved, but he liked to watch, and he loved the way you did it, Coach.
Well, I hope he would be proud of this group. They've worked very hard, and you know, I miss Coach Woodard coming to practice. He'd walk around this block and he'd stay and he would watch things, and you know, I'd call him and talk to him about things and talk to him at practice, and you know, he was just amazed how the game evolved in the years that he was coaching and then when he was retired. And you know, I was just real proud to serve these kids in this community.
Okay, well, it's certainly a tribute to you and your family, Patty, and what a coach's wife goes through, and we certainly want to congratulate you. But you know, Coach, you and I have been doing a review show for a number of years, and I've watched Coleman football for goodness knows how many years, but I don't know that I've ever seen a bigger turnaround from game 1 until game 2 of what y'all did, and it was just amazing, really, under the circumstances.
Well, it was. We've got, again, a great coaching staff. My hat's off to those guys. They tried to keep the kids in a kind of a routine week, and it was really anything but a routine week. And but with that, you know, my hat's off to my guys. They did a great job. I thought our seniors stayed focused, and we kind of challenged them, and they really did a super job tonight.
Well, and it doesn't hurt that Garrett and your quarterback come out and play lights out, and you know, Tyler just came back just on fire tonight, and Kenny got him in that rhythm, and buddy, it was just something to see.
It really did, and you know, our receivers ran good routes, and you know, our offensive line gave him more time this week, picked up the blitzes, and you know, Tyler's very, very accurate, and he did get in a rhythm tonight, and then the effectiveness of our run game tonight also, you know, they were committing to the run because we were hitting them pretty good on the run, and it left receivers sometimes one-on-one coverage, and Tyler's able to really carve them up when that happened.
Okay, well, I'll certainly be anxious to see the rushing numbers tonight, and also the return yardage, which is always exciting, but your defense, they just played unbelievable the first half and just never did get East Limestone, let them get in a rhythm.
No, we did a good job. They controlled the line of scrimmage for the most part, and I thought the key was first down situation. A lot of time, very few yards on first down, and even some losses, and you know, it's difficult for anybody to overcome those things. But my hat's off to the kids. We've had great kids, and you know, they're committed to the program, and they just did a super job.
Well, we certainly can't underestimate the job that you do, and we're just so pleased that you've broken that record, and we're going to let you get with your family and your players and celebrate this a little time, because I know in the morning you're getting be ready for West Point.
Well, we will, and you know, we've got it's easy to coach at Coleman when you've got great support from the administration. We've got the total package. The kids are great. Community supports us, and you know, so many people come and do things to make this place special. And my hat's off to everybody, and you know, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank everybody.
Well, we thank you, and we know you're the one leading that pack, whether you'll ever take the credit for it or not. But we just appreciate the job that you do day in, day out, year-round for these kids.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
See you, Coach.
Thank you, man.
And we'll be back after a short commercial break.
One of these can be the most dangerous tools you can own, because if you're careless, even for a minute, this can come into contact with those. Then it's lights out. At our Touchstone Energy Cooperative, nothing is more important than the safety of our members. We can't do it all. The best way to be safe around outdoor power lines, just don't touch them, ever. The first rule of every do-it-yourselfer should be do it safely.
Coleman Electric Cooperative.
Time is running out on Truck Month at Bill Smith Buick GMC in Coleman, where you'll find the largest selection of GMC trucks in Alabama at prices lower than we have seen in years. Like this all-new 2012 Crew Cab 4x4 Z71 loaded with leather and turn-by-turn navigation. Only $32,990 with 0% financing for 72 months. And this regular cab GMC Sierra only $16,590 with 0% financing for 72 months. Or lease this 2012 Terrain only $339 a month. It's all going on now at Bill Smith Buick GMC in Coleman.
Southern Accents is one of the nation's largest architectural salvage and restoration businesses. Visit our showroom to view our collection of antique doors, mantels, chandeliers, salvaged wood, and more. See our wood shop for your custom-built doors and wood flooring needs. Southern Accents, located in historic downtown Coleman. See us on the web at www.sa1969.com.
When you need to get back into the game, don't let an injury stop you. Trust the professionals of Encore Rehabilitation and Sports Medicine of Coleman. Our skilled team of physical therapists and athletic trainers is dedicated to returning athletes back into action quickly and safely. Encore Rehabilitation of Coleman provides physical therapy, occupational therapy, sports medicine, and workers' comp rehab. Choose Encore for all your rehab needs. Call 256-775-3737.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard. I'm your host, Mark Smothers, with Benjamin Smothers, our co-host tonight, and he's about to give you some rundown on some local teams and how they did tonight.
Absolutely. It was a great night for high school football. We had Addison extending their undefeated season to 3-0 over Southwestern by a score of 47-0. Brewer Falls at home to Etowah by a score of 37-7. Cold Springs fell to Hale County 19-12. It was Coleman last night winning 35-14 over West Point, and Fairview suffered a loss tonight 41-6 at Gunnersville. Falkville got a win at home versus Appalachian 7-0, and it was Good Hope staying undefeated out in Winston County tonight by a score of 41-27. Hanceville bounced back from their loss last week to get a big region win over Hamilton by a score of 26-12. Holly Pond fell at home to New Hope 46-0, and it was Vinemont going on the road to Walker County and Cordova, beating them 19-15.
Okay, and then we had a great ball game out at West Point last night,
Yes.
and we have Coach Britton on the phone with us, I think, now. Coach, you still there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Congratulations on that big win last night. We've got a little bit of footage of that coming up here, and we'll be looking at some exciting plays there. But as we're doing that, Coach, you know, it's West Point, all the county schools. I know when I was at Hanceville, we got up to Coleman. It was just, you know, one of those things that we're going to play well against Coleman. And I thought West Point did a very good job, especially in the first half.
They did a great job. Coach Farley had guys well prepared. You know, I think his son, the quarterback, had a great night. Offensively, they were moving the chains and basically keeping our offense on the sidelines. So I thought they did an outstanding job.
Well, you know, y'all did come up, though, when you got on the field, and you had a couple of great runs and a couple of big plays and a big pass play or two also. But you were able to make the big plays that sort of kept that doubt, I guess, in the players' minds from West Point that they would have a chance to play with you. And going into the halftime, you know, I thought you looked pretty safe at that point.
Well, we did. You know, we felt like we were doing pretty good, but opening kickoff second half, ball hits one of my front line return guys, and West Point gets it. They take it down, score, makes it 14-7, and we were very fortunate to have a big run, very first play from offense in the second half, and I thought that was a game changer that we were able to answer the score, and that really helped us.
I agree completely because, you know, they had all the momentum going after that. It was I think about a 10 or 12 play drive that they had after they got the ball, and they just did a good job carrying it down. And when they got down inside the 10, they just lined up foot to foot, and you know, it was one of those, you know, the old-fashioned type of football. They put them all up in there and just ran it right at you, and was able to get into the end zone. And I'm sure that's something that y'all will look at. But hey, West Point's got a pretty good-sized offensive line and some hard-running backs there. So
really do.
And but anyway, at that point, I think that maybe your kids began to wake up and say, hey, you know, they're not just going to lay down and let us have it. That we're going to have to get back after it.
You know, we were kind of an extended halftime with the lightning and those type of things. And
2 hours, that's extended, isn't it?
I guarantee it. And, you know, we were looking at some of the plays that we've been running in the first half without some success. We were missing a key block here and there. We were able to get that worked out in the second half, and you know, as a result, we had 2 long scores there early in the third quarter.
Well, your first 2 plays after halftime that you ran offensively, one was a little trap up the middle. I don't guess you'd say a little one. It went about 75 yards or so, didn't it? And
Garrett Crider had a big run,
and then you ran the sweep, and you know, had a big play off of it, and so that sort of took the wind out of their sails, I think, and it also you know, gave your kids a little bit more of that suave, what do you want to call it?
Swagger.
Swag.
Yeah, we just played a lot more relaxed. I think second half, especially when we got 2 quick scores, and you know, I thought our defense did a good job throughout the game. We just did not, you know, we didn't have that big stop, time in and time out. I attribute that to West Point. They did a great job. Quarterback was really elusive last night. Just had some great runs, and a couple of runs right before the half I thought were big, and they had a turnover down there late, and we were able to keep them out of the end zone, but you know, they drove the ball there late in the second quarter.
Yes, I remember that, and you're right. I thought the quarterback did a very good job reading the option play, and was able to make several big plays off of the option, and I think they just showed right there the halftime, the last of those plays right before half, where, you know, he did a good job getting a first down, getting out of bounds, and giving them time to run another play or 2.
That's exactly right. He really did a good job, and yeah, I think I just think that the kickoff second half was a big momentum swing, and we were just very fortunate to be able to answer with a big play, and I think that kind of changed the entire second half.
Well, next week, let's talk about that just a little bit. Now, this is not exactly a new opponent that you're going to be playing next week. It's somebody that I think everybody in 3 counties around here get ready for. And everybody's excited about it, and I know your kids are excited, and I know Hartsville's kids are excited, but this is going to be a big game.
It's going to be a big game. We watched, my staff and I, we went up to Hartsville tonight, and we watched Athens and Hartsville play. Hartsville was able to score, I guess in their first 2 drives, or at least 2 out of the 3 drives. They scored early. Athens made their adjustment, and Athens was able to just score 2 field goals. The game ended 14-6. That was the final score. But very physical, very defensive-minded game. 2 big plays by Hartsville, and but I thought Athens did a super job.
And
those are our opponents. Next week we've got to focus on Hartsville Tigers.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to find a way to move the football against their defense. Just unbelievable defense.
And it's going to be at your place.
Thank goodness. Yes, sir. It's going to be at our place. So it should be a great ball game.
Well, thanks for coming on with us tonight, and good luck to you next week. And again, congratulations on the records that the Coleman Bearcats have been setting, and the coaching staff as well.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate what y'all do for high school football.
Thank you very much. All right, we appreciate having Coach Britton on with us, and now we're about to look at a little bit of film from tonight's ball game with Hale County and Cold Springs. You know, this was a tough ball game, and they knew it was going to be a tough ball game, but Cold Springs was rolling along pretty well. Hale County has a traditionally good football team. They play good football down there, and this is one that Cold Springs was hoping they might be able to get. They were at home, and you know, it was one of those things that you know, sometimes you can gauge your program a little bit by who you beat. And Cold Springs is trying to get that next step. But I think the game as it turned out, was a good, close, hard-fought ball game, and Cold Springs was not quite able to get the victory, but you know, just the way they played and playing tough with those, they know now that they can play with any of those people over there.
Exactly. And, you know, as far as it goes with Coach Elliott, I know that, you know, he is a competitor, and I know that he does want to win, but you know that he's got to be proud of the way his ball club played tonight. They started off the season 2-0, and this is the first one that they were able to drop. So I'm sure he's got to be happy with the direction that football program is headed.
Well, I'm sure they are too, and I know he does a good job. He coached with me for a while down at Hanceville, and you know, he's got a good background in football. But he, you know, he's got a couple of good athletes out there too. The Campbell kid is one of the best running backs around. He's just super strong. But you know, I was out watching him practice one day, and I understand why he is such a good running back in the game. Is because in practice, he goes full speed. You know, it doesn't matter who's over there, and he goes until he is through everybody, or he's down one of the two. But every play he puts moves on, and he's going full speed until the whistle blows, until the end of that play, and that's in practice. And you know, when you practice like that, you're bound to be getting better. And you know, you also learn about a little bit about, you know, certain things that work and certain things that don't work.
Exactly.
But Cold Springs has done a good job this year. They did a good job tonight, I'm sure. And you know, we had somebody out there, as you can see, here's a kick return. Did a good job getting back and catching the football. And now they're running their wing tee, which Coach likes that pretty well. And there's a counter off of it. But unfortunately, they had a few little mistakes and stuff, and sometimes those are, you know, you cut out all the mistakes, but nobody does, you know, so that would help. But anyway, good luck to Cold Springs next week, and we'll go over who their next opponents are toward the end of the program. But good, tough ball game. You know, one of those things, sometimes you just lose.
That's right.
And sometimes you get beat. And so this is one of those things where they'll learn from it. I'm sure that they'll go back, look at the mistakes they made, and then correct those in this week, and then next week come out ready to play again.
There's no doubt. If I know Coach Elliott the way I think I do, he will correct those mistakes, and he'll have them ready to roll again in week number 4.
All right. Now we've got another feature coming up that well, it may not be all football, but it's the Band of the Week. This week our Band of the Week is the West Point Warrior Band, and they did a super job last night, and I think we have quite a bit of that on film here for you to enjoy. West Point Band of the Week.
Ladies and gentlemen.
would like to thank our sponsors, Coke, Bill Smith, GMC, Buick, which I have 2 of them. I have a Buick and a GMC that I got there, and then Southern Accents, which you know, I've got a couple of doors and stuff that Southern Accents, they have some just unique things.
As
there.
you were talking about them earlier tonight, I was thinking my wife could probably really spend some money in Southern Accents.
Yeah.
So we might have to go and check that out sometime. And as you were mentioning Coke, you know, I appreciate all of these sponsors, Bill Smith, Southern Accents, Coke, and what they do just to pour into the lives of our student athletes here. And I even remember as pastor at First Baptist Holly Pond when the storms came through in 2011, how Coke was there to make sure that everyone had bottled water and was getting that into avenues where we could get that out to the people that need it. So our sponsors are helping us in more ways than we even realize.
Very much community oriented.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we have a commercial coming up right now, and then we'll be right back with a little bit more of Beyond the Scoreboard.
One of these can be the most dangerous tools you can own. Because if you're careless, even for a minute, this can come into contact with those. Then it's lights out. At our Touchstone Energy Cooperative, nothing is more important than the safety of our members. We can't do it all. The best way to be safe around outdoor power lines, just don't touch them. Ever. The first rule of every do-it-yourselfer should be do it safely.
Coleman Electric Cooperative.
Southern Accents is one of the nation's largest architectural salvage and restoration businesses. Visit our showroom to view our collection of antique doors, mantels, chandeliers, salvaged wood, and more. See our wood shop for your custom-built doors and wood flooring needs. Southern Accents, located in historic downtown Coleman. See us on the web at www.sa1969.com.
Time is running out on Truck Month at Bill Smith Buick GMC in Coleman, where you'll find the largest selection of GMC trucks in Alabama at prices lower than we have seen in years. Like this all-new 2012 Crew Cab 4x4 Z71 loaded with leather and turn-by-turn navigation. Only $32,990 with 0% financing for 72 months. And this regular cab GMC Sierra only $16,590 with 0% financing for 72 months. Or lease this 2012 Terrain only $339 a month. It's all going on now at Bill Smith Buick GMC in Coleman.
From the Heart Monogramming and Gifts has just the gift you need for that special someone. Find a tote bag or build a bow. Peruse our selection of baby items. Or choose a nice piece of jewelry by Chameleon. And while you're here, let us take care of all your monogramming needs. From the Heart Monogramming and Gifts. The best gifts are from the heart.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard. We've got a couple of games here that were in our area tonight. First one we're going to show a little bit of footage of is New Hope at Holly Pond. And then when we get through that, we're going to show you an exciting game of Hamilton and Hanceville. And while these are running, Coach Bates out at Holly Pond has got those kids going hard, but they had 2 or 3 just killer mistakes early that sort of takes them out of the game. A couple of times they had third and short yardage and had a mishandled snap, whichever way you want to look at it. But anyway, it just didn't connect and lost yardage on it and took them out of drives. And then they had a couple of times that they had penalties, big penalties that really took a toll on them. But they also gave up a couple of, New Hope had a couple of good athletes with good speed, and when they broke in open, they were gone, and they broke a couple of big plays on them which cost them the ball game. So we'll just wish the best to Coach Bates as he continues to work with that group. They're getting better, and we expect, I don't know when it'll be, but it won't be too long. They'll be coming around, and the final score on this game was New Hope 46, Holly Pond 0. And we just hope that they'll get things straightened out and get going in the right direction. They moved the ball well at times. They just weren't able to get any points on the board. But while we're waiting on those, or watching the rest of this, we also have on the line with us tonight Coach Miller from the Hanceville Bulldogs, who had a huge win tonight. It was almost a must-win, wasn't it, Coach?
Well, it sort of was. We started the season last year 0-2 in the region and 0-3 overall. We talked all the week about our kids, that put us in a situation down the road that made things tough for us. We just didn't want to get in that situation again and get in a hole that's hard to get out of.
Yes, and then tonight you got out. Well, it was pretty close, and then y'all got a big touchdown just before halftime on just a really good, almost length of the field drive that I think probably gave your kids a lot of confidence, just the ability to carry it down there and put it in the end zone when they had to.
Well, I think you're right about that our kids, if we talked to them before the game and all week leading up to it, that we knew that we were going to have to bring our best to play with Hamilton. Those guys don't lose many ball games, and they were going to come over here ready to play.
Well, Hamilton's in one of those situations where if they need a quarterback or a running back or something, some of those other schools around real close just happen to have one, and they somehow or other move into Hamilton and play with them.
Well, that happens sometimes. I was really proud of our kids, the way we came out. We talked about starting fast against those guys, and I thought we did. And I thought our defense played a lot better tonight. And we didn't give them as many big plays because they hit us with a big run there. But I thought overall our defense played well. I thought our coaches had a good plan for how to compete against those guys, and then our kids went out and executed it.
Well, I was really impressed with where your defensive people were. They were in position to make plays. Now, I thought it maybe a little bit early in the middle of the third quarter, I guess. Somewhere around the middle of the third quarter, I think a little bit of fatigue started to set in, and they quit doing good form on their tackles, made a few mistakes, and Hamilton turned them into touchdowns, but they got it back, and I guarantee you I saw some of the best licks tonight. Number 18, great hit on a receiver over there.
Yeah, that's Cody Smith, and that guy, I thought that guy played super. He's one of our seniors, and he's had a good year so far. Had a big game for us tonight.
Yes, he did, and on defense. But another thing, a little bit later on, we're going to have our FCA Athlete of the Week, Student of the Week, who is Tori Green. But Tori made one of the best runs I think that any of us have witnessed. It was just a super run at the right time, and it just energized your team, and they were able to finish after that on a much higher note, I thought, because they just saw that effort, they saw the run, and he made 2 or 3 moves toward the end that put him in the end zone that a lot of people after they've run 75 yards are going to be a little bit fatigued and not have the mindset to make a cut or two that he needed to make in order to get it in the end zone.
Right, I think you're right in that he made a big play there when we really needed a big play. And Tori's another one of our seniors that's really, he's been starting for us for 3 years, and that guy came up big tonight.
Well, Coach, this is Benjamin. We do appreciate you joining us tonight on our Beyond the Scoreboard show. Talk a little bit about the importance of being able to keep Hamilton's offense off the field. I know you guys had that strong running game, which allows your defense to rest a little bit, even though you've got guys that play both ways. But with Hamilton, their explosive offense, it's important to keep those guys off the field. And I felt like you were able to do that with your running game tonight.
Right. I agree. Let me say this real quick, because I'm on the road and I may run into a place where I don't have phone service. But, we felt like we needed to control the ball, control the clock. Because those guys are going to score points. You keep letting Trent get the ball back to Hamilton, they're going to score points on you. And we knew that. We needed to move the ball, but we needed to hold on to the ball and try to keep it away from those guys. And, I thought we did a pretty good job of that.
Well, one other question. Did you happen to tape that halftime talk that you had tonight?
I did not. No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking that might be something the rest of us could use sometime in the future because, your kids were super hyped when they came back out in the second half.
They were ready to play when they came back out that third quarter. I'll agree with you.
Well, the coaching staff was too.
Right. You're right.
Y'all were all fired up.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you, Coach. Appreciate you being with us tonight, and good luck to you next week. You got another big ball game. You got Vinemont next week. Is that correct?
Another region game and another undefeated team. So, our kids are going to be, I think it'll be a lot easier to get their attention in practice this week. I know Coach Scott does a good job up there, and we'll have to be ready to play.
Well, thank you very much, Coach, and good luck next week, and we will be talking to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we got one of our favorite segments of the show. We've got the FCA Student of the Week, and you saw him running a little bit there tonight. He had to change jerseys. He was number 21 when the season started, but I think he got that one sort of ripped off of him. I guess he's running too hard.
Yeah.
But now he's number 33. So Tori Green will come up, and we have some church sponsors that we really appreciate the churches who sponsor this FCA Student of the Week because it means a lot to these kids and to the community for these kids to come up here and be able to just give us their testimony a little bit. And we're about to hear Tori Green from Hanceville and some of the churches.
Some of the churches that help us do this are St. Andrew's United Methodist Church, West Point First Baptist. We appreciate also Bethlehem West Baptist Church out there in the West Point area. Brother Chad Albright being their pastor. And of course, there's many churches here in town that we'll highlight throughout the season, but we'll just mention Desperation Church tonight. So we just appreciate all these churches taking time to pour into the lives of these young people like the one you're about to meet.
All right, FCA Student of the Week this week is Tori Green, Hanceville, number 2133 /
My life before Christ, everything was going bad, nothing went in my favor. Money struggling, family struggling, just not talking to people in general was not for me at all. And when I met the Lord, our Savior, it was a big turnaround. And there's been multiple people that have been influences in my life, but my number one has been Sheldon Lewis. He guided me toward Christ. He just taught me everything. My 8th grade year came around, and he stepped up to me and he told me, you got to be out here. You got to do what the Lord is telling us to do. We have to serve our God. Being a Christian, it affects my work and my play and everything I do in the classroom because I feel that God gave me the ability to do everything 100%. And if I don't go 100% at everything I'm doing, I'm not doing what He told me to do. I'm not just going to go in there and slack around. I'm going to do what I have to do. I try to influence others by word or action, by being loud and expressing God's word, telling everybody what the Lord has to say to us. I show it on the field, in the classroom, at home, outside, everywhere. When younger kids step up to me and ask me for my autograph, it's the best feeling in the world. I feel like I'm a superstar, but at the same time, I know that I'm doing right, so I'm teaching them to do correct.
Dreyer Physical Therapy Institute, leading the way to good health. Southern Accents is one of the nation's largest architectural salvage and restoration businesses. Visit our showroom to view our collection of antique doors, mantels, chandeliers, salvaged wood, and more. See our wood shop for your custom-built doors and wood flooring needs. Southern Accents, located in historic downtown Coleman. See us on the web at www.sa1969.com.
Many forces of nature threaten our homes, but one of the most menacing can't be forecast. Termites cause billions in damage homeowners insurance won't cover. So ask for Termidor, America's #1 termite defense. Nothing is faster or more effective.
Please, God, kill me.
At Target Pest Control, we aim to please. We're the hometown guy that's big enough to do the job, but still small enough to care. For an appointment in Coleman, call 256-739-5487.
At Freedom Insurance Agency, helping you with the freedom to choose is what we do best. With more than 15 years' experience, Gloria Williams and the Freedom Insurance Agency is still providing affordable insurance for the residents of Coleman and surrounding counties. Get the peace of mind you deserve by protecting the things that matter most. Our friendly and experienced staff will be happy to give you a quote. Call today, 256-737-0011.
Time is running out on Truck Month at Bill Smith Buick GMC in Coleman, where you'll find the largest selection of GMC trucks in Alabama at prices lower than we have seen in years. Like this all-new 2012 Crew Cab 4x4 Z71 loaded with leather and turn-by-turn navigation. Only $32,990 with 0% financing for 72 months. And this regular cab GMC Sierra only $16,590 with 0% financing for 72 months. Or lease this 2012 Terrain only $339 a month. It's all going on now at Bill Smith Buick GMC in Coleman.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard, brought to you by Coke, Bill Smith, and Southern Accents. We appreciate their support and allowing us to be able to bring this program to you. Now, we're going to go over a part of the program that I think is probably going to be of interest to most of you. It's the region standings, some of the games that were played in each of these regions that our local schools are participating in, competing with. So if you would, Benjamin?
Absolutely, yeah. First of all, we'll start out with 1A Region 6. That's the region that Addison is in, and Addison, of course, tonight was a victor over Southeastern by a score of 47-0, and they'll travel next week to Shades Mountain Christian. It was Faultville over Appalachian 7-0. They'll travel to Meek next week for another region showdown, and we also had Summerton Christian winning in that region, beating Meek by a score of 25-24, and they'll actually travel to Collinsville next week. Again, that's 1A Region 6. Then we move to 2A Region 4. Of course, we reported earlier of how Hale County was victorious over Cold Springs tonight by a score of 19-12. We had Lamar County beating R.C. Hatch 45-0. They'll travel to Sulligent next week. And it was Oakman 54, Francis Marion 6. And Oakman will host R.C. Hatch next week. In 3A, Region 6, you had Geraldine defeating Brindley Mountain 47-12. Geraldine will travel to New Hope next week. J.B. Pennington beat Sylvania tonight in a close one, 32-31, and they will hook up with Plainview next week. It was New Hope again over Holly Pond, 46-0. New Hope will play Geraldine next week, and Plainview was victorious over Pisgah, 34-25, and will travel to Pennington next week. 3A Region 7 will be of much interest to those of you in the Coleman County area, as tonight we know that Good Hope beat Winston County 41-27 and are set up for a major showdown in that region for next week as they play Hamilton. And really, Hamilton will be in a much needed win situation
they'll be in a tough
after their loss tonight.
And Good Hope is now still undefeated.
Still undefeated, yeah, and really control their own destiny, of course. And then you have Hanceville facing Vineland. That's two teams that are undefeated in that region next week. And of course,
Hanceville's 1-1 now in the region.
That's right. Good Hope beat them last week, so that'll be another big game for Hanceville. I guess they're all big for Hanceville from here on out.
After you get one loss, it's big because you want to play at home when you get into the playoffs. You want to play that first game at home, and it's hard. You got to be in the first top two in that region in order to play at home.
And
so
that's a tough region.
It'll be hard to do with more than one loss.
There's no doubt. And then we had Vineland, of course. We said they went to Walker County tonight and defeated Cordova 19-15. It's never easy to play at Cordova. We know that. And next week, of course, we have Cordova hosting Winfield. And Winfield did win tonight over Danville by a score of 35-6. That takes us to 4A, Region 6. We have a couple of scores from that region. We know that Gunnersville beat Fairview tonight, 41-6. Gunnersville will travel to St. Clair next week, and it was Crossville falling to Sardis tonight by a score of 49-7. And Sardis will be playing Douglas next week.
And who does Fairview have next week?
Next week, Fairview will be playing Locust Fork.
Okay, and Locust Fork, I think they were undefeated at the time in the region, but so we don't have a score on them at this time.
They played Aniana tonight, so I'm sure that would have been a really challenging game, but we're not sure how that came out to be. Another region that a lot of the Coleman area will be interested in is that Region 8 and 5A.
I think they might.
And of course, we know last night that Coleman beat West Point 35-14, and we've already talked about how Coleman hosts a huge matchup with Hartselle next Friday night. And Hartselle was victorious tonight over Athens by a score of 14-6. Muscle Shoals, which will be another really contender to win that region. They won tonight over Lawrence County 49-0. And Athens, who sounded like gave Hartselle all that they could stand tonight, will be facing off against Muscle Shoals. So that should be a good game next week. And we had Russellville beating East Limestone tonight by a score of 19-15, and they will line up and play against West Point next week, West Point and Russellville. So that gives a rundown of all of our regions and area teams. And at this time, I will turn it back over to you. I think we're going to talk a little bit about some people who are behind the scenes when it comes to a football program.
Well, one of the hardest things for a coach is to get the field ready, get the dressing rooms clean, clean the bathrooms, everybody dressed, and they're out there ready to go. And then a public announcer says, we need some volunteers to come down and carry the chain.
And when they say volunteers, it means we need some people who are not going to sit with their wife, and they're not going to cheer for their boy. They're not going to be able to say anything because you're on the opponent's sideline. So you have to kind of be an observer. You're not going to enjoy the popcorn and the Coke, but you're going to have to sit and do a job throughout the game.
Well, several of the schools, and we're showing a lot of footage here of West Point, and those guys, they're there every week. The pay they get, they do get into the game free.
Yeah.
That's great. But they're over on the other sideline with the other team and their coaches, and going up and down the sideline having to listen to what they're saying about, their kids. Sometimes maybe being tempted to say, they know they're going to fake a punt, but how am I going to communicate? And they can't do it because it just, that's just not right. So anyway, it takes a lot to do that, and they have to sort of keep their mouth shut while they're over there.
They do.
They
Not only
cheer.
do they have to listen to the opposing team's coach, but sometimes they have to listen to some snot-nosed brats, so to speak. I remember when I was playing high school football, we were running the option play, and I was reading, and the read told me to keep the ball, but my fullback just clamped down on it and kept it, and one of our chain gang guys said, come on, Benjamin, you got to read it. You got to read it. And I looked at him, and I said, you run the chains, and I'll run the offense. Frustrated me a little bit, but I did not know that eventually that man would be my father-in-law. And he actually ran the chains for about 25 years out there at Addison High School, and it's men like that that make it possible for young men like I used to be to enjoy the game of football, and they're never really celebrated or thanked, but we did want to take time and thank them tonight.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, after being in a place for 2 or 3 years, you would know who you could get. And what I normally did is I got one of the people that I really knew would get the job done, and I'd ask him, I'd say, would you make sure we have a chain gang? Somebody, a crew that can go over there, will do a good job, will take pride in what they're doing, will keep the chains out of the way, because, you know, when you got kids running over there, you stand there with that pole and they're running into a pole. So, you know, they have to be alert, and they have to do a good job. But we really appreciate the chain crews that we have, and I know all the coaches are very appreciative of those people that go out and tote the chains. And especially, you know, there's no pay on it.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll say this, if you're at one of those places where they have to do a public announcement 3 minutes before the game starts, maybe you should look up your head coach and say, hey, coach, I'll take that responsibility away from you. You don't have to worry about it. You worry about offense, defense, special teams, and all these students, and we'll take care of your chain. So
it helps a lot.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, people like that, it helps a lot. And we appreciate the chain gangs in our county.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we got a commercial coming up, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes with more of Beyond the Scoreboard. We'll talk a little bit about the SEC.
Time is running out on Truck Month at Bill Smith Buick GMC in Coleman, where you'll find the largest selection of GMC trucks in Alabama at prices lower than we have seen in years. Like this all-new 2012 Crew Cab 4x4 Z71 loaded with leather and turn-by-turn navigation. Only $32,990 with 0% financing for 72 months. And this regular cab GMC Sierra only $16,590 with 0% financing for 72 months. Or lease this 2012 Terrain only $339 a month. It's all going on now at Bill Smith Buick GMC in Coleman.
Southern Accents is one of the nation's largest architectural salvage and restoration businesses. Visit our showroom to view our collection of antique doors, mantels, chandeliers, salvaged wood, and more. See our wood shop for your custom-built doors and wood flooring needs. Southern Accents, located in historic downtown Coleman. See us on the web at www.sa1969.com. Wells Turner Family Pharmacy is a proud supporter of local city and county athletics. You can keep your money right here in Coleman because Wells Turner Family Pharmacy is locally owned and operated. At Wells Turner, you won't have to wait long to get your prescriptions filled, but while you're here, you can send a package by UPS, buy a gift in the gift shop, pay your phone bill, or develop your photos using our DKS photo kiosk. Wells Turner Family Pharmacy. We are a Health Mart community pharmacy.
One of these can be the most dangerous tools you can own, because if you're careless, even for a minute, this can come into contact with those. Then it's lights out. At our Touchstone Energy Cooperative, nothing is more important than the safety of our members. We can't do it all. The best way to be safe around outdoor power lines, just don't touch them, ever. The first rule of every do-it-yourselfer should be do it safely.
Coleman Electric Cooperative.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard. We're going to talk just a little bit about some SEC ball.
Absolutely. I'm excited about tomorrow's college football lineup.
You planning on watching any?
I think I probably will. We're going to definitely sit down in time to see Alabama and Texas A&M. I know that everybody is talking about that game. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is call Domino's Pizza there in Coleman and get one of those Hawaiian Honolulu pizzas that they had for us tonight. And I may just sit down and eat it all by myself.
You
My
gotta
wife
do it.
and kids are going to be away doing something, so that'd be an excellent opportunity just to sit down and enjoy a pizza from Domino's.
And Coke
Even
Zero.
a Coke from, yes, absolutely. We plan on doing that, hope to do that. But getting to the game, I really believe, as most prognosticators would say, that it will be an excellent ball game. But I think that what Alabama has to do, and you'll probably agree with this, and if not, you can correct me on it because you've got more experience coaching than I do. But Alabama's got to do a lot like what Huntsville had to do to Hamilton tonight. They've got to keep A&M's offense off the field. And to do that, they have to be able to run the football. And I know that when they played Virginia Tech, that a lot of people were saying the offensive line didn't look that good. And, you know, the thing that everybody's got to remember, it is a new offensive line.
And Virginia Tech had 9 starters coming back on
That's
defense.
exactly right, with Bud Foster being one of the nation's best defensive coordinators. And another thing that I was thinking about, we know that when Saban gets a lead, which I think they were up maybe 18 at halftime, he's not going to try to get too flashy or fancy. So I think that they, with that week off, they will have gelled together, and I think the running game will come along, and it's going to have to. If it doesn't, then they will for sure be in trouble.
Well, you know, some of the people in your church may want to hear a little bit about Auburn, Mississippi State.
They might do it, and I'll have to be careful because I got a lot of good Auburn fans that go to church with me. But when it comes to that ball game, I think right now where the programs are as far as the head coaches, where they are in their tenures at each respective school, that Mississippi State's going to have more to lose in that game tomorrow. I know that a lot of Mississippi State fans want their program headed in the direction to where it contends for that SEC West and hopefully a trip to Atlanta. And if they drop tomorrow's game, I think that it's going to be kind of looking in the mirror and realizing that, hey, we're not there yet. And they want to be there because we know that Mullen has been there for plenty of years. Whereas if Malzahn were to drop his SEC opener, might be a little more flexibility there with him. But it wouldn't surprise me a bit if Malzahn and his offense doesn't move the ball and come away with a victory. It's in Auburn. That's a tough place to play.
And both those are going to be good ball games, I think. But, you know, we do have a few others that are sort of playing patsies.
Yeah.
We got, and Southern Miss has just not been themselves lately, but Arkansas's got Southern Miss. LSU's got Kent State. We got Florida's not playing, Georgia's not playing, Missouri's not playing. Now Kentucky's got Louisville, and Mississippi has Texas. Those ought to be pretty tough ball games. And then South Carolina, Vandy. That could be a really interesting ball game as well. Tennessee and Oregon. I don't know if Tennessee's ready for this or not, but I hope that their defense is. And so it should be an interesting game in SEC football tomorrow. But it's been a pleasure to be with you tonight on Beyond the Scoreboard, and it's been a pleasure to have my nephew here with me, Benjamin Smothers, and hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. And be back with us next week, and just keep supporting your local schools.
Ready?